And welcome to the Invictus Racing League No Assist Championship. We're back from the season break. It's round 7. It's the Australian Grand Prix, and I'm joined as ever by Sab. Good evening, Sab.
Good evening, mate. It doesn't seem too long ago, does it, that we was commentating our last race. We've had that week break, and now we're going to be racing down under in Melbourne. It should be a good race tonight. It looks like we've got a pretty full lobby, so hopefully the guys and girls tonight will be ready to get back into the rhythm and give us some more great racing like they have in the first part of this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fantastic first 6 races of the season, and we've seen several different winners, and the likes of FPL Charlie do very well in his rookie season. Is there anyone you've got your eye on for the second half of the season?
Charlie, I think he finished strong, didn't he? Towards the end of the first half of the season, he really looked like he was starting to build up some momentum. So I'd like to say keep an eye on him. I'd also like to, if possible, try and keep an eye on Boy Better Know Scott, because by his standards, it's not been the greatest of seasons so far. The reigning champion, he'll obviously want to go better the second half of the season and be able to defend that title. So the two Mercedes guys, I think, two contrasting different runs of form at the minute between them. They'll want to obviously be pushing right at the front. You can't obviously rule out Sam, who's, you could probably say, is king of the podiums, and then you've got the likes of White Fountain, who's always super fast, and Scopefielder as well. So there's so many to call, really. But like I say, Charlie, I thought he was very impressive the last couple of races before the break.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to start with, just before we go into the race, just like as it's our first week back, of course, we missed last week. Just like to express I'm sure from Sab and myself, our deepest sympathies and condolences to the family and friends of Antoine Hubert. Unfortunately lost his life in the F2 race in Belgium 2 weeks ago. Racing as part of the Arden team, he was a fantastic talent, part of the Renault Juniors team. And it was an awful time to be a racing fan indeed. And of course, our well wishes to Juan Manuel Correa, who's also involved in the incident, who's currently in a critical but stable condition in a London hospital. So sorry to start off with a somber note, but it's definitely one of those things. That is the hard things that we have to face here in the world of Formula One and Formula Two. But back to the racing, and we are here. Yes, it is the Australian Grand Prix down under in Melbourne, a track that you enjoy, having visited a few times, Sab.
Yeah, I thoroughly do love the Australian Grand Prix. The atmosphere, the chance to see the cars racing around these roads, which they are. It's incredible to go to this circuit and see it getting built up before the F1 season starts. You've got normal people driving around here not 10 days before the racing happens, and then suddenly it's transformed into this racing circuit, and it's incredible what the men and women down in Australia do to put on this event, and then to quickly pull it all down again once the race is done. They really do a great job of hosting Formula One here, and for me, it's a great circuit to go and witness it and see it live. It's probably not the best of tracks for overtaking and track action. We've in the past seen very little overtaking in real Formula Ones. Hopefully it'll be a bit different for the guys and girls tonight racing. But yeah, I really like Australia. It's a tricky track, isn't it? I've been practicing myself over the weekend. It is a tricky track to master around here, but if you can master it, I think it feels really good, especially if you can nail it for a qualifying lap and really put in that good fast lap.
Yeah, very strange weather conditions we've got here. Very foggy by the looks of it on the outlook. You can see the skyline in Melbourne showered behind that fog and mist, and it's Dragio in the McLaren that's first out on track. He gets overtaken by a Toro Rosso of Beck 9000, and just looking to see if I can see a few spots of rain in the air, because it does seem to be that sort of condition where we might see a little bit of precipitation. But Australia itself, it's a 5.3 kilometre circuit. That's 3.29 miles. Distance to turn 1, 350 metres. zero point 0.2 of a mile. Longest straight is that main straight, 860 metres, just over half a mile. Top speed around here, 300 kilometres an hour. That's 186 mile an hour on the approach to turn 1. Full throttle is 70% of the lap, even though it is a very, as you say, technical street circuit. It's quite full on when it comes to that throttle pedal. Fastest corner is taken at 155 miles an hour. That's the kink at turn 11 and turn 12, the sweeper in towards the golf course. And the slowest corner, 90 kilometres. That's 56 miles an hour at turn 15, the second to last corner. Gear changes, it's 55 over the lap and over a 50% distance, which we will be running tonight. That's 1595. And as we see, Dragio on his first lap runs wide at the first corner. That's going to unsettle yourself for the first half. It's one of those tracks that I've always found that you really sort of need to get into a rhythm around here, because it's very easy just to, as soon as you've maybe run wide at one corner, just to kind of get your act back together and just kind of calm it down and take it easy.
Yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned, I've been practicing this track, and it's very easy to get frustrated with this track, isn't it? Especially like you say, you get a couple of corners wrong, and I found myself getting quite wound up then, and then you suddenly lose even more time. It requires full concentration around here, doesn't it? And these curbs as well, I have to point out, these curbs I find are very, very harsh. If you hit those just slightly wrong, they will spin you out or put you into the wall. So it's all about being delicate round here, but quick as well, because you don't want to take too much of the track, because it certainly will bite you. I think we're about to get the first timed lap in a second. Beck 9000 in his Toro Rosso is coming across the line now to set the first time of the evening, and that's a 121.8 in his Toro Rosso. That is the benchmark so far.
And just on board, White Fountain in the Renault. He's going to complete his lap very shortly, just coming around the final corner now at turn 16. DRS wide open on his Renault as he streaks down towards the line. What does he set as his benchmark time? It's a 121.6, 2/10 faster than Beck 9000. White Fountain will look to go a bit faster than that. It was a slightly rough end to the lap for him. He was going wide into turn 14. So White Fountain, definitely a driver that we can look to see impress over the next few races.
Yes, definitely. You can never really rule out White Fountain, can you? He had a superb race, what we covered not long back in Brazil, where he started at the back and come back through the field from, I think he was starting in P11, wasn't he, and ended up winning the race with a bit of rain helping. White Fountain, he's always been super quick in that Renault, so you definitely can't rule him out tonight for grabbing pole position. We've just had a few other timed laps. FPL Charlie is opted to go on the medium tyres with a 124.4 with Adrelok also on the medium tyre, M Doran also on the medium tyre, and Speed Queen on the medium tyre. So some mixed strategies at the minute. Speed Queen, I think, probably made a mistake out there somewhere with a 132.5, so she'll obviously be wanting to either go again on these tyres or maybe come in and swap him for a set of softs.
Simon 118 putting himself up onto the second row of the grid in third position, so it's a Renault 1.3 at the moment, so good luck there from Simon to set a time that's 0.04 of a second slower than Beck 9000, so it's a good lap from Beck, and he definitely needs a little bit of a boost in the second half of the season. We've seen him make a few errors in the first half, and the luck's not been quite on his side, but there's drivers in the league that have definitely improved since we've seen them from the start of the season. The likes of Meg Lugby and Nick L.J. Thompson, who we know are new to no assist, joined by the likes of MJ Coop, who's down in 14th, having not set a lap just yet. So these guys, they've had that first 6 races to really bed themselves into no assists, and now this is that second half of the season where we really need to see them push on and start really enjoying their time in the league.
Yeah, definitely. As I'm just watching Speed Queen now, she has gone for a second lap on this medium tyre. Can she improve? She looks like she's going to improve. She's going to improve with a 123.1. So unfortunately for her at the minute, that is the slowest of the medium runners. So I would imagine she'll be coming in and trying on a set of softs like her teammate CPI Alex, who's sat up there at the minute in 5th place on those soft tyres. But it did take him 2 laps to do that time. So he'll obviously, I imagine, want to improve on that with another run.
I just caught on board there with MJ Coupe. Unfortunately, on the exit of turn 10, just had a huge snap of oversteer and possibly just got on the throttle pedal ever so slightly too hard coming out of turn 10 and just threw the right hand side of the car into the wall, and he's lost the front right end plate of his Red Bull, so that means that is one lap scrubbed for him, and he's going to have to box at the end of this one and set a fresh time later in the session. We've got 10 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, so plenty of time for these two guys to get back in and set at least one, if not two more competitive lap times. And it's nice to see a lot of the guys this evening donning the pink and white helmets in honour of Antoine Hubert. I think even FPL Charlie is running the pink and white helmet, and equally is running number 19 as his car number.
Yeah, that is a nice touch. It shows, doesn't it? In motorsport in general, we're all competing against one another and trying to beat each other. But when something as shocking, as tragic as what happened with him, it shows how much of a family and how much united the motorsport community is, and it is really a nice touch to see tonight. And I just want to say it was good words from yourself this evening. You couldn't have said it much better than that. Just moving on, if I may, Scott, he's now going out for his first time run. He's currently out there. He's halfway round on the soft tyres, so this will be his first run. He's just going through that quick left-right chicane, the second section, which I always hate that section. I always seem to either get that wrong or go too slowly around there. Now he's into the third and final sector now, Scott. What time can he do with his teammate FPL Charlie only really sitting in 7th at the minute in a 1:22.4? He'll be obviously wanted to beat his teammate. He's coming around the final corner now. What time can Scott produce? It's going to be his first time. It's going to be close. What time is he going to do? He's going to do a 1:21.5. There you go. Scott not messing about. Pole position so far for Scott, and there is the benchmark. Nice lap there from Scott.
Yeah, reigning champion, doing what he does best and putting it on pole position. And we've seen Scott do very, very nicely here in the past. Over the last few seasons, he's picked up victories here and had a superb battle with Speed Queen last season here in Australia. So expecting him to do very nicely again this evening. And yep, as you say, a 1:29.504. Great lap from the Mercedes. He's now on track just behind his teammate, and Charlie is on his outlap, equally on a fresh set of softs. And you can see there at the moment the only one still in the pit lane that is yet to have come out onto the track is Sammy Pepito, who of course was known as Sammy the Pito before, but Sam has now changed his name, so he then goes up onto 6th on the grid so far. So 1:22.1 on the medium, so great lap there from the Spaniard.
Yeah, and he's the only one at the minute favouring that medium tyre. Everybody else who did come originally out on those medium tyres have pretty much binned them off and gone on to a set of softs, so they're not really fancying those tyres around here. So that's a good lap there, isn't it, from Sam, to jump him up into 6th place. If he can hover around 5th or 6th on a medium tyre, it should stand him good into the race later on. So he could be definitely one to watch on the alternate strategy if he decides to stay on that tyre.
Absolutely. Beck 9000, he's going quicker at the moment. He's just under 2/10 faster than his quickest time, which would put him in range of the front row of the grid. And White Fountain got yellow in sector 3. It's gone green now, so possibly just a slow driver locking up the front right ever so slightly there into turn 30. Now, how can Beck end this lap? And he has qualified well in the last few races, but can he do well? Zeitman goes top at the moment, a 1:21.3. Great lap there from the Renault, and he puts himself up onto provisional pole. What can Beck do? Can he improve on that 21.8? He does. It's pole position, provisional pole of 1:21.247. Great lap there from Beck 9000.
It was a great lap, and I was on board with M. Doran, who's just gone up to 2nd place with a 1:21.3. He was on as White Fountain. Wow, It's all happening now. That is a lap, isn't it? A 1:20.7. Now that is a benchmark for the others to beat. As Beck 9000, M. Doran and Zyman top. I was just about to say, sorry, M. Doran, he was on an absolute flying lap, and I was just about to say he's on for pole position here, and Beck 9000 jumped ahead of him, so times are starting to tumble now, but that is a real benchmark from White Fountain. Can the front runners, the championship contenders, take on White Fountain as FPL Charlie now goes to a 1:21.5, so times are really tumbling now.
Yep, that was a great lap there from White Fountain. FPL Charlie equally a 1:21.5 gets himself within 0.4 of a second of the Belgian, who's currently sitting on pole. Speed Queen is just entering turn 9 and turn 10 now in the Ferrari, so she is on her second flying lap, currently sitting down in 13th position on a 1:23.1. She's going just under half a second faster, so that's not going to jump her up to where she wants. And this is a 3-time champion we're talking about, so she's got a lot to prove over this second half of the season. There's plenty of quicker drivers ahead of her in the championship standings at the moment, but we know that she's got the talent. She just really needs to unlock it. It seems to be that so far this season she just hasn't got to grips with the game so far.
No, it's a shame, isn't it? Because we all love seeing Speed Queen at the front fighting, doing what we know she can do best. She jumps up there to P9 with a 121.9, which by her standards I don't think she'd want to be there. She is obviously beating her teammate at the moment, which I suppose that's what you aim to do, don't you? You aim to, as I say that, CP Alex, there you go, right in my face, pushes himself up to 8th place there. So unfortunately for Speed Queen, she's now not beating her teammate, so definitely room for improvement for Speed Queen.
No. And so she currently sits in 10th position, which is the worst place you want to be on the grid, of course, because it means you're in the mid-pack, and equally you're stuck on those tyres that you set your fastest time in qualifying on. So, of course, if you start outside of the top 10, you will get tyre choice come the race. So 10th position is probably the worst place that she could be at the moment, as MJ Coupe is coming around the final corner now. Can he set a fastest lap? It's a 1:22.2 for MJ. So he goes up into 13th. That drops Dragio, who's on an outlap, down to 14th at the moment. So with just under 4 minutes left to go in qualifying, you've got White Fountain on provisional pole position, 1:20.7. FPL Charlie is in second with Bet 9000 in third, and M Doran rounds out the second row of the grid with a 1:21.3. So the grid is pretty tightly knit in the early 21s. It's only White Fountain that's managed to dip inside that 1:20 mark.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's a good benchmark, that, isn't it? Someone's going to have to pull off one hell of a lap to beat him, I think. As we see now, we've got a bit of a lull at the moment. There's only 2 guys out on track at the minute, Boy Better Know and Dragio. Let's hope we don't get a Italian Grand Prix style and they all come out of the pits with a couple of minutes to spare and trip over each other. That'd be quite disastrous for everybody, but Boy Better Know seemingly wanted to get out there while the track is empty and quiet and see if he can get himself a faster lap nailed. He's currently sat in P7. There's definitely opportunity to improve here. If he can, say, make up even a couple of tenths, that would jump him up to at least 4th, 3rd place. So like you say, it shows how tight it is, doesn't it, in the low 21s. Just a couple of tenths can propel you a good 3 or 4 places. So all still to play for here with 2.5 minutes to go.
Absolutely. Looks like there's going to be a deluge of cars coming out onto the track in the next few, or about 30 or so seconds, so that everyone could get around and make the flag, as you say. Don't want another Italian Grand Prix scenario, but as we are just waiting for Scott, he's just winding up ready to start that flying lap. But we'll just quickly tell you, if you are new to Invictus, what we've got in store. Of course, we're in the F1 esports league here, but we also run GT Sport. We run GT Sport on Thursdays and Sundays. Thursdays is DTM. Sunday is our LMP1 WEC league, and we run no assists on a Monday night, and then on Tuesday night we run a realistic performance league. Wednesday night we run 3 equal performance leagues, F1, F2 and F3. You can go and find all of the details on this by going to our website, invictusracingleague.com, or going to the socials, InvictusRL on Twitter and Instagram. InvictusRacingleague.com, as Scott goes into the wall on the exit of turn 6. He just completely lost it on the... It's almost like it almost just didn't brake there. He just went straight off into the gravel, spears into the wall, and that's the yellow in sector 2, which is possibly going to compromise a few guys. It looks like everyone's on their out lap now, so no one compromised on a flying lap. But disaster for Scott, 7th position at the moment. So that's not how you settle your nerves, ready to go into a race.
Definitely no. I was riding on board with him, and I was willing him on to try and see if he could get get a better lap than what he's done. And I just don't know what happened there. I don't know if he just completely lost it. Like you say, it just looked like he just went straight on. And unless there's something wrong with his car or his wheel or something, I don't quite know. But that's disaster for Scott. So at the minute he's sitting at seventh best. Can the guys behind him now make it even worse for him and drop him out of the top 10? He's pretty much now just left to sit and watch the last few moments of qualifying and not able to do anything about it. It is disaster for him, as well as I was saying he was going so well so far. So I hope I haven't jinxed him. So everybody now who's on their out laps is now on their flying laps now. So who can challenge White Fountain? And even more so, can White Fountain improve on that spectacular lap he's just done?
Absolutely, and the track will be at its best now. The track will have rubbered in nicely, wouldn't be as green as it was earlier on, and there'll be plenty of rubber put down on a circuit for these guys to make it grippy as time expires on the session. So that's it. If everyone has crossed the line, which it looks like they have, so you've got Beck 9000 in third position. He's not going to go any faster. Nick L.J. Thompson is in 10th for 129.9. He is currently sitting on the bubble of the top 10. We've got M. Doran. Looks like he's going to be the first of the top 4 that's going to cross the line. He's now coming up to the second DRS straight at turn 12 towards turn 13. Heavy braking zone here down into turn 13. Get it turned in and don't run out wide, as he does very nicely there in the McLaren. And as the Irishman here running in towards the final 2 corners, turn 15 and turn 16. Can he improve on the time? He's got Sam Lipito has gone up into second position at the moment, 121.1. Can M. Doran improve on his time? He only improves by 1 position. And so we've got Meg Luppy up into 4th. Great lap from Meg there. Beck has dropped down to 5th from 3rd, so he may be bemoaning not going out. White Fountain isn't going any faster. What can FPL Charlie do? Can he get pole? He doesn't. It's only second position for Charlie. It's a 121 flat for him. We've only got one more driver on a fast lap. It's going to be Simon, who has not enjoyed the end of that lap and goes into the wall out of frustration there, and that ends qualifying. And it was a great lap there from White Fountain halfway through the session that has managed to grab the Belgium the first pole position of the second half of the season. As you can see there, he takes the top spot in qualifying in the Renault over 120.7, 0.3 of a second ahead of FPL Charlie in the Mercedes. You've got Sammy the Pepito in the Haas in 3rd, then followed by Meg Lugby, CPI Alex, Beck 9000. M. Doran is alongside Speed Queen with Zyman and Adrian Lockdock rounding out the top 10. Scott will start outside of the top 10 in 11th place with Nick L.J. Thompson. MJ Coop and Dragio round out the 14 that are racing this evening. And great lap there from White Fountain.
Yeah, it was a super lap, wasn't it? Nobody in the end really got close, but look how close it was in that top 10. Like I say, a 10th here and there, and it could have propelled you quite a way up the grid. As it looks like now, it looks pretty much similar conditions, doesn't it, for the race? A bit murky, overcast conditions, but looks like a pretty dry and stable race for the guys to be racing in.
Yeah, it looks like these guys are getting up to speed around here. As you can see, nice, well, slightly overcast skies by the looks of it, but still dry, which is what these guys would have been hoping for their race this evening. And I don't know, I always shudder to ask about your predictions for the race, but what are you thinking? Where do we think this one's going to go? Of course, you want to see where the cars are by the end of the first corner and the end of the first lap, but as we've seen in qualifying, where would you put your money so far?
Well, I've just reading in the comments. Charlie was just said he went off track after the fast chicane, so he believes he could have had pole position. Charlie, like I said at the beginning of this, he's been the man to watch. He's been the hot form guy at the minute, so he's definitely going to put White Fountain under a lot of pressure. But with that lap from White Fountain, if he can carry that stellar pace of his into the race, it's hard to see past White Fountain at the minute. So I'd go with either of those two, but I've probably put the massive jinx on him now. So if I if I see any of them get wiped out, White Fountain or Charlie, please don't blame me. But I'm gonna go with those two. Yes.
There you go. There is the commentator's curse coming directly
Yes.
from Sab, not from me. So yeah, all it can all be pushed towards you if it gets it wrong. And if you're enjoying the commentary, guys, feel free to click subscribe on the button. Of course, we are now streaming from YouTube. We've moved from Twitch to YouTube from now on. So welcome to the new home of the Invictus Racing League. No assists and. There we are. We going? There we are. We go into formation lap. The red light came on. It almost put me off for a second there, but it is the formation lap as the cars get led away by White Fountain. But if you do enjoy what we do, yeah, as I said, click that subscribe button. You will be notified when we go live for the No Assist League, and equally the Realistic Performance League on a Tuesday and the Equal Performance Leagues on a Wednesday. And I believe even the GT Sport Leagues on a Thursday and a Sunday may be coming to YouTube as well. So plenty of action across the week for yourself. And if you want to hear more from Sab and I, you can join us on Thursdays where we record on Twitch our live podcast for Invictus. More about Formula One than about the league. So if you want to come and talk anything Formula One, we'll be doing wrap-ups about the last two races in Belgium and in Monza, and plenty of other talking points from the last 2 weeks of Formula One. That's where we'll be on a Thursday night. It will be uploaded to all your podcasting sites, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, all the likes will have it. So if you don't get to listen live, don't worry, you can listen back, and we're more than happy to have you guys subscribing to that podcast. Really enjoyed doing that one. As White Fountain now getting to 11 and 12, just warming the tyres ever so slightly, and Scott starting outside of the top 10. We've seen him charge through the field when he's had this before, because he's had a real struggle in qualifying sessions so far this season. But what can he do from 11th?
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? I was just looking at the tyre situation. Scott has gone and opted for the soft tyre. The only person outside of the top 10, bear in mind, is Nick LJ Thompson. He's gone on the mediums. Everybody else on the outside of the top 10 has gone for soft tyres. So, talking about Scott, he's usually lightning quick, isn't he? The first opening laps of a race, he's good at making up places, and on them soft tyres, he's going to have a bit more extra grip, a bit more speed about him. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do from 11th, whether he can get the jump on some of the guys early on and try and challenge for that top 5 or maybe even a podium. But he's got all work to do again tonight. It'd be very good if he can, because it'll give us an exciting race to watch.
Yeah, I won't say anything about the fact that everyone's on softs apart from one driver being potentially because wet weather's coming, because we've been wrong in the last 2 races. So let's just say that everyone knows far better than I do, and we're looking forward to an absolutely thrilling 7th round of the Invictus Racing League No Assist Championship with 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Pause, out, go. Great start there from the Toro Rosso, who's sized up into one position ahead. You can see Scott weaving behind it, but it's White Fountain that's going to take around the first corner. Sammy Pepito goes slightly wide. He's going to be challenged with Charlie, but Charlie goes back up into second position there. But it was a great lap a great start from White Fountain. What have we got behind? Have we seen any instance?
Scott spun. Scott has spun after the turn. Scott has spun. I don't know what's happened, but he was facing the wrong way and absolute disaster. So I hope that's not me jinxing him. I'm expecting a great race from him. I don't know if he's got front wing damage. It looks like he may have a bit of damage, but at the minute he's struggling to keep it on track. But disaster for Scott. He's a good 10 seconds already behind MJ Coop. So I don't know what caused it, but he's suddenly facing the wrong way, and seemingly his race is probably already over.
No, that's the worst case scenario for the reigning champion. And however, teammate FPL Charlie is currently sitting in second position. A rocket of a start for White Fountain has already elevated him 1.6 seconds into lead, as we've only gone through 2 sectors of the first lap. So White Fountain absolutely stormed off the line, seemed to really be able to get the power down. Sammy the Pito was going, he got the move done on Charlie into turn 1, but went slightly wide, got 2 wheels onto the gravel. That really hampered him. But White Fountain, you can see, has now got a 1.8 second lead heading into the second lap of 29. And yeah, it's been a great start from the Belgian.
It really has, and also a good start is Nick L.J. Thompson on those medium tyres. He's got Andrew Lockdock for company shortly behind, but Nick's jumped up 3 places. And I don't know if it was due to that incident, what happened with Scott. Zyman's into the pits, so maybe it was an incident with him. I'm not sure. Zyman into the pits now, but yeah, as I was saying, Nick's jumped up 3 places. He's currently in 9th place on those medium tyres. Oh, it's just as I say that, he's having a fight with Andrew Lockdock, and he's lost out a few places, unfortunately. I'm just bigging him up, and now he's just dropped down to 11th. So, bad luck for Nick. I just think I should just shut up for the rest of the race, because whatever I keep saying, people keep losing positions.
Yeah, what do we know? We're not commentators.
Yeah.
And so M. Doran here in 6th position. He's only 0.3 of a second behind Beck, and Beck had a good start and seemed to get a little bit boxed in because he had a great launch off the line, swerved to the right, but he's got boxed in slightly, and it meant that he was only able to move up 1 position. The main, well, apart from Simon, who's dropped down from 9th to 14th, dropping 5 positions, is Meg Lugley, who dropped 4 positions from 4th into 8th. So Meg possibly getting caught up in some little bit of a tussle down into turn 2, as we should say, as we've got DRS is now enabled. Speed Queen, she's all over the rear end of M. Doran. She's looking a little bit more racy now that the race has begun rather than in qualifying. Of course, that ever-present yellow and pink helmet in the car, and she'll be sitting behind these guys. And it's a part of the race where you can, if you're stuck behind someone, you can just conserve tyres, conserve a little bit of fuel, a little bit of battery. You don't need to really go at it too hard this early into the race. Just get into a rhythm and just start in, like, just picking your points. As you can see there, she's looking at M. Doran. But yeah, this is the point in the race where you really start to just kind of calm yourself down. The start is finished. You just need to get into that rhythm.
Definitely, and she's getting a sort of helping hand from her teammate CPI Alex in 4th place. He's currently 1.6 seconds off Sam, but he's got Beck 9,000 less than a second behind. M. Doran 6/10 behind Beck 9,000, and Speed Queen is weaving behind M. Doran. So the minute this CPI Alex, who's just tailing off from the front 3, is actually giving his teammate an opportunity to have an attack on the likes of M. Doran and Bet 9000 now. CPI Alex is finding it really tough as we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. I'm not sure what is that for us. Scott has DNF. Scott is out of the race, so unfortunately for Scott, that is a race to forget for him, and he's facing, just watching on board with Zyman there, he was facing the wrong way out of that quick left-right chicane, so obviously he's lost it there. There was not much left of the front of that car, so a disaster of a night for Scott.
Yes. Loads of moves going on at the front. We've got Beck and M. I say moves. Loads of fantastic battle going on with Speed Queen, M. Doran, Beck and Alex, and or M. Doran's going to be lucky to hold on to that one. Just about puts 2 tyres onto the grass on the exit of turn 5, but he's managed to hold on to it. He's all over the rear end of the Toro Rosso in front, and Speed Queen, she's been watching this battle, and you can tell behind those behind that lid, those eyes will be open wide, waiting for the right moment to send it up the inside, because M. Doran almost lost it on the last lap at turn 12, and he just about held on to it. She had a look down the outside, but it was closed off pretty quickly. But down, obviously using DRS, M. Doran had a run on Beck, and Beck equally had a run on Alex, but no one was able to make a move. But this battle here, it's starting to bring, as you can see, M. Doran losing it again, and he's going to go side by side with Speaker, and she has to bail out of that move. But you can see it's bringing Meg and Adri back into play, and Adri was the first one to fall foul of the stewards. He picked up 3 seconds on the previous lap, but you can see here 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th and even 9th all in the same shot. And well, it's we've got
Nick, he's spun on the final corner. Nick, he really is struggling now. He's spun on the final corner, facing the wrong way. He's managed to get going, and I'm not sure he picked up any damage. or not. He doesn't look like he's picked up any damage. I can't see on his front wing, so a bit of a disaster for Nick. Hopefully he could just get his head down now and carry on. But I just wanted to point out as well, FPL Charlie has really got the time down on White Fountain. And as you say, it was over a second not long back. It's down to 0.4 of a second now between first and second place. So Charlie's starting to really put the pressure on White Fountain.
Oh, a disaster there for both Toro Rossos. We've had Beck 9000 spun on the exit of turn 2, and then equally Adrialokdok has lost it twice on the he got onto the grass trying to overtake a car ahead. Believe it was Meg Lugby, and then unfortunately so yeah, and then he spun on the recovery. So both Toro Rossos, as Drajo's lost it on the exit of turn 12 at Hill. He's gone into the wall, and that McLaren sprawled in the centre of the track. How there's not been a VSC or a safety car announced so far is beyond me, because that was right in the middle of the track. But MJ Coupe now elevated up into 8th position. He's battling with Beck 9000, and Beck looking to recover after that spin. And what that spin did do was upset the battle between M. Doran and Alex, and Alex has now swapped positions with his teammate Charlie, and we've got a three-way battle from 4th to 6th, and we will catch up the lead battle at the moment. We've got the two Ferraris and a McLaren going side by side down at Sports Centre at turn 4 and in turn 3 and turn 4, but it looks like Speed Queen has got the move done.
Charlie's lost it. Charlie has lost it somewhere. He's in the middle of the track now, and that battle you've just been trying to describe, Charlie's now in the middle of it. He's lost it and spun it and managed to get it back round, and now he's in the middle of a battle for 4th place. And M. Doran, the likes of the two Ferraris, would not have expected to see that Mercedes there.
No, absolutely not. And Charlie now, as McLugby is about to lose it on the exit, and you can see just how easy it is as M. Doran goes around the outside of Charlie around the sweeper at turn 10 through to turn 11, as Meg gets a DQ for wrong way, and that's a very harsh DQ there. He obviously was pointing in the wrong direction, had to spin around. But Charlie, he's dropped from 2nd to 6th in 1 lap as Adri picks up a second 3 seconds there. But as Beck finally gets back past MJ Coupe on his recovery. But Speed Queen, as we were saying, now up into 3rd position.
Yes, she's going well, isn't she, Speed Queen? She's seen all the incidents, what has been happening, and she's managed to keep her nose clean and get on with it. I'm just wondering with Charlie whether he was running really close to White Fountain. I didn't actually see what happened. I was wondering whether he just got into that dirty air of White Fountain and unfortunately lost it, and which spun him out, which is also now just look back, so I see Alex and M. Doran, they still having a good ding-dong battle, as M. Doran is not giving it up so much, and this is allowing, as they're going side by side there, wow, this is brave, this is allowing Speed Queen to now try and pull away, as M. Doran does get the move done. Eventually,
he's going to go into the wall. He goes into the wall. M. Doran, he lost it on the exit of turn 6, and that seems to be the corner that's really upsetting these guys here. And yeah, it's a whole front. Oh, you can see the whole right side of that front wing is now missing, and the McLaren, he had an absolutely magnificent move around the outside of Alex going into turn 3, turn 4, and turn 5, and he really hung it on there, but he lost it, got into the wall on the exit of turn 6 at turn 7, and that is that's really, once again, this track has kind of taken another prisoner, and we've already seen the likes of Meg Lugby and Scott spinning earlier on, and equally Drajo lost it. So it's not really helping these guys tonight, who seem to be, is it a little bit of ring rust of after having a week off, as we've got FPL Charlie about to make the move on Alex. He's going to go around the outside into T1. Does he get it done beforehand? He does. So Charlie back up into 4th position, and he's now going to start to chase down Alex's teammate Speed Queen, who's 3 seconds up the road, as we've got MJ Coupe just under a second behind the two Toro Rossos. As what we've got there, we've got M. Doran into the box, Nick's into the box as well. So those two in for a pit stop very early on. 8 laps of 29 done, and God, it's all gone on earlier in this race.
It really has. Like you say, could it be a bit of ring rust? Or could it just be this track? We both said how tricky this track is and how it can easily bite you. Just further ahead, Sam, he was 2.6 seconds behind White Fountain. He's slowly starting to reel White Fountain in now. It's down to 1.4 seconds, so maybe White Fountain just trying to look after his tyres a bit, or is Sam just turning up the wick a bit now and deciding, right, we've got to go for it here, because at the minute White Fountain really he's had it pretty straightforward. He was under some pressure, as we've got a instant
it's a Spears Beck 9000.
Yeah.
He's lost it at turn 12. He cut the corner, got onto the curbs, and the curbs upset the balance of the car, turned it around, and that's the second spin of the race for Beck, who really unfortunate for him because he was doing so well early in the race, qualified really well, and unfortunately that's going to drop him down to 8th position, and that's moved MJ Coupe up into 7th. We've got pit stops for Charlie and Alex. So the Mercedes and the Ferrari come in line astern, and as you can see them very, very slowly crawling their way out. It's white walled hard tyres for them, so Charlie and Alex now will come out, or Charlie's going to come out just in front of Simon, but it means Alex has got a little bit more work to do. Can Simon go down the inside whilst he's got hotter tyres and up to temperature? And he does. So Simon up past Charlie. Charlie's going to have to work to get past the Renault, who's lost it. And God, it's like these guys are driving on ice this evening.
I could be wrong, but it looked like Charlie just caught the back of that Renault. I could be wrong, but they was very close together, and suddenly he went right. And I don't know whether he just lost it himself or whether there was a bit of contact there. We'd obviously have to find out from the pair of them. But I was just about to say, Sam is now. Sam and White Fountain. Sam and White Fountain are in the pit. They're in the pits now. Sam is running to the back of White Fountain in the pit lane.
Now, has he given himself wing damage, though? It didn't look like anything was chipped off. It is. A front right end plate has gone, so it's going to be a slow stop for the Haas. Disaster. He just tried to catch up to him a little bit too hard there. You could see him pushing in the pit lane, but that's going to drop him back by at least 3 or 4 seconds on White Fountain. It promotes Speed Queen into the lead of the race. She's out there on the soft tyres, yet to make a stop. Angela Lockdock equally is on the same set that he started on, but you've got White Fountain in 3rd position, the effective leader of the race. He's gone onto the hard tyres. Sam is on the medium tyres after that stop as well. So he's going to have to do 19 laps on the medium tyres, and after that wing change, this is going to be a hard road back for Sam.
It really is, and at the minute, all this so far is just playing into the hands of White Fountain. He's harrying and pressing Agilocdoc now. He's just 0.3 of a second behind that Toro Rosso. I surely wouldn't expect Agilocdoc to make this difficult for him. They're obviously both in 2 different races. You'd imagine any corner now, White Fountain should get the move done as they're going through that quick left-right section of the circuit. Agilocdoc managing to hold his own at the minute, but you imagine White Fountain. But as we're saying, White Fountain, everything's just going right for him at the minute. He was under pressure from Charlie. Charlie lost it. He was under pressure from Sam. Sam got up to under second. Then there with that incident in the pit lane. The moment for White Fountain, just everything it seems to be going right for him. Is Lady Luck on his side tonight?
As White Fountain gets round the outside of Adri into the final corner. Agilocdoc going wide and deep into turn 15. That allowed White Fountain back up now into provisional, back up into leader race now that Speed Queen has made her stop. Will she come back out? She comes back out just in front of FPL Charlie and not too far behind Sam. And Sam lost 7 seconds with that front wing change due to just trying to break a little bit later to catch up to as Charlie's going to go around the outside of Speed Queen. We didn't manage to catch that one, but Charlie and Speed going side by side through the leisure centre section at turn 3 and turn 4. Charlie back up into 4th position. Speed Queen without those, of course Charlie's had those tyres up to temperature. Speed Queen just out of the box will be getting some temperature into them. She's now got to get back past the Mercedes if she is going to retake a place on the podium, which I'm sure it's something we've not seen so far this season. I'm sure she'll desperately be wanting.
Yeah, definitely. Should be hoping on those medium tyres to get them up to temperature now, and to put some pressure on Charlie, or even stick with Charlie and hope he makes a mistake. She'll have seen he's made a mistake already once tonight, so if she can keep that pressure on Charlie, then she could force another mistake out of that Mercedes driver. But she's still there, hanging on to the back of his car so far, just half a second behind. She will have DRS coming round to start-finish straight now, so. Charlie is not. It's not going to be easy for him for the next few laps, as Agilotdoc finally does pit on those soft tyres, 12 laps. So I assume he will be going on those mediums.
Yep, Adri in the pits now, so that's going to drop him down to around 6th, I'd imagine, just behind CPI Alex, who goes across the line now. So the two Toro Rossos will most likely be lying astern in 6th and 7th. But you've got White Fountain leading San Pepito by just under 7 seconds now with the Haas. Of course, as Adri picks up his third 3 seconds there, so that's 9 seconds in total for the Spaniard, and that's going to harm him and would drop him back behind his teammate and in almost within MJ Coop's reach. If Coop can get any closer, he just needs to make up 1 second and he would elevate himself past Adri as Charlie locks up going into turn 9 there, went deep, and that's allowed Speed Queen to get right into the toe of the Mercedes as they come up towards turn 11, turn 12, and it's caught out several drivers. Will it catch out more this evening? Of course, these guys that have lost out there this evening, they aren't the first, and they certainly will not be the last, not only this week, but in the, I'm sure, in the coming seasons when we race around Australia. As Charlie goes deep again into turn 14 there, kisses the gravel. You could see the dust getting kicked up, and Speed Queen, she's going to watch this. She's going to be on, of course, on that nicer rubber, and the hards are very hard to kind of control with the temperature. Is she going to be able to use the DRS to go around the outside? Not quite close enough to get it done just yet. Now the first DRS zone here kind of just sets you up for the second. Go down towards Sports Centre at turn 3, but she's not close enough to get a move done. Charlie is going to have, well, he's got a fight in store for him, isn't he, if he's going to keep her behind?
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully for Speed Queen's sake, she doesn't take too much life too quickly out of those medium tyres, because she's going to obviously need to get those medium tyres to the end of the race. So while ever she's harrying and pressing the back of Charlie, those tyres and everything else will just be getting a bit hotter and a bit more stressed, won't it? So it'll put even more pressure on Speed Queen to get the move done sooner rather than later, so she doesn't take too much life out of those tyres, as she's still right on the tail of Charlie going now through in turn 12. Can she get any sort of move done, or get even closer to try and get that DRS working down start finish straight?
DRS open as they go down towards turn 13. Not too much you can use out of that one there unless you're right in the gearbox of the car in front, but it just means that she's going to be closer and closer and closer, and in fact this is the closest that she's been since Charlie got back past her after her pit stop. So can she use the DRS down into turn 1? This time she's much closer. Charlie moves to the right to cover the inside, moves to the left, and we've seen that move used by Jack Aitken this weekend in F2, and just about holds on to position there. Now DRS wide open once again for the Ferrari driver. She's not close enough this time, and Charlie getting good drive out of the corners on those hard tyres, but Speed Queen, like I said, she will be enjoying this softer rubber at the moment. Of course, it will degrade much faster than Charlie's tyres, so Charlie's got to play the long game here. He's got to just look after them. He doesn't want to burn them out too hard, too early, just over defending, because eventually that tyre will come back to him as we head towards the back end of the race.
Yeah, definitely, and like you say, he's getting good drive out of the corners, isn't he? Especially in the DRS zones, he'll be obviously saving up his battery and getting that good drive out of the corners and using all that battery to defend. And at the moment, Speed Queen just can't get close enough, can she? She's within touching distance, but just not enough to get a move done or get even a little dive down the inside done. And Charlie's defending well at the minute. If he can keep defending these DRS zones, there's not really much places else around this circuit to get an overtake done, as Speed Queen once again is all over the back of that Mercedes again. Can she get any closer? But once again, as you can see, Charlie pulls away nicely. He's tucking it onto the inside and back on the outside to try and get rid of that toe, but Speed Queen just not getting closer. He clumps the curb there, Charlie. That will allow Speed Queen to really get close now. Charlie defending hard. He's going to have to make Speed Queen go around the outside. Speed Queen has a look, but Charlie parks it right in the middle of the circuit. And again, Charlie's defending well. He's making sure that Ferrari just doesn't have any room to get past.
Absolutely, and how many times have you seen a Ferrari and a Mercedes go toe-to-toe with each other like this? And we've seen it in the past, not only in real life, but on the game, of course. Usually it's Charlie's teammate, Boy Better Know, who, as I said earlier in the stream, had an absolutely titanic battle with Speed Queen last season here. So once again, it's a Mercedes and a Ferrari that will be going wheel to wheel with each other around this Albert Park circuit in Melbourne, Australia. And she looks to the inside. That's not an overtaking move there unless you're absolutely suicidal. She cuts the exit quite nicely there. Doesn't look like she managed to cut it too much to get a penalty, but DRS wide open as she goes down towards turn 13. She's very, very close, and Charlie's going to be able to feel her breath on the back of his neck almost as they come out of turn 14 there, as that Ferrari really closes up. But this is where Charlie seems to get a good exit. He gets a very good launch out of the final corner, but she's much closer this lap. This is probably her best option. It's just line herself up, get a perfect run through turn 1 and turn 2, and get that move done into turn 3. Can she get a good run through these two corners here? Goes slightly wide on the exit of turn 2, which means that Charlie can just have a little bit of a gap, but just that tiny, maybe 0.2 of a second breathing gap, because you need to have, I'd say, be within just under 0.3 of a second if you are to make a move, and it was just over 0.4 there. So Speed Queen, I'm sure she's sitting there just frustratingly watching the back end of that Silver Arrows.
Yeah, like you say, frustrating is a good word, because you do not want to get too frustrated being tucked up behind a car like this and end up making a mistake, because then it's all over for you. You've just got to try and pick your moments. But it's Rich, as we've got yellow flag in sector 1, as Beck 9000 has lost it once again. Unfortunately for him, he's had a spin in the first sector of the lap. He's managed to get going again. I don't know if he was involved with anybody else, but Beck 9000 back again, going in 7th place. The CPI Alex picks up a 3-second time penalty.
And that was Bex losing the front right end plate of the Toro Rosso as well, so it's going to have to be another stop for the Toro Rosso driver. That's going to drop him well back down the points, if not outside of it, as Speed Queen here. She's once again in the toe of the Mercedes, looking much closer this time. She's going to have to, as I said before, have to line yourself up for that second DRS straight right now, and she's looking much better. Can she just send it down the inside? Is this a case? Does she just need to commit to a lunge? Is it because it's not something we often tend to see from her. She's very calculated with her moves. She doesn't make any unnecessary risks. But Charlie, he's putting his car in all the right places. Does she need to try and catch him out at a corner that possibly he's not expecting it?
Yeah, that could be a good tactic. Just make him think, because at the minute he's got pretty much covered off. He's seen that she's trying the inside and outside move. He's defending well, and at the minute he's got it covered. So maybe just try something a little different. Try a little look somewhere else where Charlie, like you say, wouldn't expect Speed Queen to have a good look. But Charlie's doing a superb job of this. Speed Queen now has a really, really good run on Charlie, but once again Charlie just defends well. Charlie keeping his nerve, keeping his bottle at the minute. He's under severe pressure. A raging fast Speed Queen usually is a really intimidating thing. I certainly wouldn't want her chasing me down in a race. Superb champion as she is now, she's once again having a really good run on Charlie this time. But yeah, again, Charlie placing the car well. Can she get the move done through turn 1, turn 2? She's much better this time through turn 2, but Charlie once again is just striding, isn't he? 2 or 3 strides, a bit more than what Speed Queen's managing, and unfortunately for Speed Queen, she's not close enough again towards the end of the run. And
oh, big crash! Sorry, Sab, just to interrupt you there. It was CPI Alex and Adri Lockdock that lost it, and Adri got the move done. He lost it on the exit of turn 1. Unfortunately, Alex came round the corner and just couldn't get in the way. And Adri, you can see, just got on the power once again. And yeah, it's a front wing change needed for CPI Alex. Adri, he got back on the power too hard, spun again, recovering, put himself into the wall, and that's a whole front wing missing from that made, so that whole lap around for Adri if he is to get back to the pit lane. Simon just managed to get past MJ Coop there as they came past the yellow flag there and just got back into the green, and as Coop went deep into turn 5, I believe it was. No, turn 3, sorry. And yeah, so Simon up into 7th position on a good recovery after pitting on the first lap after an incident, we presume, with Scott. But yeah, as Nick now retires from the... What's happened to Nick?
Speed Queen's got... Speed Queen had the best run so far. Charlie's picked up a 3-second time penalty. That could prove crucial for his 3rd place. Speed Queen now, probably the best attempt now. She's trying on the outside, but no. Charlie, once again, defends well. You sound like you had a bit of mic issues there. Sorry if I interrupted you there, Gareth. I'll just carry on as we got a yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm not sure what that was about. It's quickly gone. But Speed Queen now, this is what I was about to say. Speed Queen now, if she can't get this move done, she's sitting in 4th place. She's got a 31-second gap back to 5th place. Oh, Charlie's nearly lost it. Charlie's nearly lost it. There, Speed Queen now is going to be all over the back of that Mercedes through turns 11 and 12. Can she now really get this move done? Charlie is under severe pressure. I don't know how Charlie kept hold of the car on the track. Charlie just about is keeping hold of this 3rd place, but Speed Queen, as I was saying, is about to say, if she can't get this 3rd place move done, it might be a good idea to try and go for that fastest lap, and chuck on a set of softs at the end, because with the 31-second gap behind, she's going to come back out in 4th place anyway, so why not go for that extra point fastest lap, as Charlie seems to have recovered a bit now, and he's a couple of strides ahead of Speed Queen going down that straight down to turn 1, but yeah, Charlie with a Larry moment there, and he almost lost it and gave a gift to Speed Queen.
Yeah, Charlie on the ragged edge, and fantastic commentary from yourself there covering over whilst my... sorry for any audio issues, guys. Unfortunately, I literally just got in from my flight back from Monza, so hadn't a chance to make sure that all the audios was set up correctly. So, yep, it's been an absolute fantastic battle going on between FPL Charlie and Speed Queen 80, and they're still going at each other, and the time is split right. Is it a good chance for her to send it down the inside? Charlie covers off the inside, make sure that she can't even get a look in there, but runs out wide. So Charlie really starting to struggle. You can tell that he's looking in those mirrors, because he's certainly not hitting the apexes like we saw earlier in the race. And Speed Queen, she's definitely almost, would you say she's getting into the head of Charlie? He's starting to make mistakes.
Yeah, you'd imagine now Charlie's probably looking more in his mirrors than actually looking forward, isn't he? There's a bright red Scuderia Ferrari absolutely hassling him, and I don't blame him either, because with a multi-time champion in Speed Queen putting the pressure on you, it would force most people into mistakes. This is the Speed Queen we've missed this season, isn't it? The Speed Queen who really piles on the pressure on the people ahead and really forces mistakes and tries to get the job done. It's great to see Speed Queen back fighting up there, fighting for a podium position. At the minute, I don't believe she's got a time penalty, which at the minute, Charlie keeps kicking up the dust, doesn't he, there? So it would promote Speed Queen up to 3rd place. So the minute Speed Queen, all she has to do really is keep along with Charlie, and the 3rd place will be hers.
Yep, and just caught on board with Beck 9000 going around the outside of CPI Alex Beck, of course, making that stop after that broken front wing. He moves back up into 8th position, as of course even though he's had a couple of spins, that's currently 8th at the moment for him, after of course teammate Adrian Lockdock had a huge incident at turn 1 and turn 2. but we've still got this battle going on. I'm sorry, guys, if you've not been featured too much on the stream for the likes of White Fountain, Sam, or M. Doran. We've had this fantastic battle going on as Adri picks up another 3 seconds. That's 12 seconds, so one more and he will receive a mandatory DSQ for the race. Of course, one of the rules here is you're not allowed to pick up 15 seconds or more of penalties because you will receive a DSQ under driving standards. As Charlie just about getting a good exit there, and you can tell he's running over onto the curbs here, and he's starting to really push the limits of where you're allowed to put the car. Speed Queen, she's not as close as Adri, goes fastest, 123.6 for the Toro Rosso, but she's still not close enough to get that move done. He's doing very nicely to kind of just take the life out of those tyres, because sitting behind that car, the tyre temperatures for Speed Queen must be through the roof as Charlie goes wide again, and he's really struggling to keep it in between the two white lines.
Yeah, and if he's not careful, he will pick up another time penalty. I imagine he's been getting a few warnings for these wide turns. He's already got that 3 second time penalty as we spoke about. He definitely does not want to be picking up another 3 second time penalty, because that would pretty much rule him out of third place. At the moment, Speed Queen doesn't seem to be going anywhere, does she? She's still there. She's still pressing Charlie. 7 laps to go now. Charlie, he's going to probably have to require Speed Queen to make a mistake, because now Speed Queen does. Oh, as Charlie, that was a late defence there. Was it too late? I don't know. I'd like to know your opinion, but that was a late move to the right there from Charlie. I was riding on board with Speed Queen, and Speed Queen just had to get on the brakes a bit earlier than expected.
Yeah, I think if the stewards were watching that one, they'd definitely put the black and white flag out for Charlie there and say, don't do that one again, because as you say, it was very late indeed, and I'm sure Speed Queen had some choice words there in the cockpit as the Mercedes cut off the corner, and she definitely had a run on him down in towards turn 13, but he moved the car across possibly a little bit too late. So as you say, they're kicking up the dirt once again, but Charlie, he knows that he's sitting on that penalty, so he's got 6.5 laps left to go if he is to kind of keep Speed Queen behind, and then equally he's got to eke out a gap over her. And of course he is on the hard rubber compared to the medium, so that will be starting to affect her ability to push as hard as she was earlier. And just saying, that 7 second gap that was between our leader White Fountain and Sammy Pepito is now down to 3, so Sam having caught up 4 seconds, which I'm sure he'll be pretty displeased with himself, because with pace like that, if it wasn't for that wing change, I think we'd probably see the Haas in the lead right now.
Yeah, definitely. He reeled White Fountain in quite well before that pit stop, and I don't know if White Fountain, he just got caught out by White Fountain, and the late braking completely caught him out, and unfortunately picked up that wing damage. But at the minute he's sitting well, isn't he, Sam? In second place, in those podium positions as we always seem to see him these days, and it'll be more good points for himself and his team with Scopefielder missing tonight, so picking up more good points for Haas. So yeah, at the moment Sam's doing alright. He's probably, as MJ Coop picks up a 3 second time penalty, he probably, as I would say, he's just ran really wide there, Sam, unluckily, and he's dropped down to 4 seconds now. I think he's probably going to expect it's going to be second place, but he can't be too disheartened. Second place, I think, still a solid run tonight. White Fountain has been pretty much untroubled, really, and he's got the job done tonight, and you can't blame him if he goes on to win, to be driver of the day, really. He's not put a foot wrong all night.
No, of course, and with Scopefielder missing out this evening, of course, Scope on his way back to Sweden from Monza as well. He will not be. He's currently our drivers' points leader with 62 points. Sammy Pepito, with Scott retiring from the race, will be taking the effective lead in the drivers' championship, leaving Australia if he finishes this evening. So those points for Sam tonight will be crucial to put him to the top of the driver's standings. Of course, we do, if you are here new to the No Assist League, and welcome, we hope you're enjoying it. My name's Gareth, joined by Sab every Monday 8 PM here for the No Assist Championship, and we do have 2 tiers. We have two tiers based on pace, but then equally these guys can select to use the racing line even though they are running no assists when it comes to driver or in-car assists. But if they do use the racing line, they will be getting 4 points less than the drivers that are using fully no assists, so without the racing line. So 15 points are usually a win, so the drivers that will be using the racing line will be getting 15 points for a win. Drivers without the racing line will be getting 19 points for the win. So it means that we've seen the likes of CPI Alex do very nicely in the championship so far, even though he's not actually had a particularly fantastic season, because we do like to push these guys to run no assists if they can. But just sitting on board White Fountain, he's managed to stretch that lead out now to just over 5.5 seconds. We sat on board with him there for a lap and a half, and it was incredibly consistent, very smooth from the Renault driver, and it looks like he's just taking it easy and not putting a step wrong as we go into the last 4 or 5 laps of the race.
Has Speed Queen's tyres gone? I believe they have. She's down 2.2 seconds now to Charlie, and if Charlie keeps pushing like he does and doesn't pick up another time penalty, he will break that 3 second time penalty. 3 second time penalty is picked up. 2.4 seconds now with 3 laps to go. It is possible now that Charlie could hang on to third place, because at the moment Speed Queen looks like she's just had the life out of her tyres go, and if she does drop out of that 3 second gap, which it increasingly look like it's going to, personally I would chuck on a set of softs for the last few laps and just pick up that fastest lap point with 33 seconds to M. Doran behind her, 2.7 seconds now. So it looks like Charlie, his tyres are starting to come good for him even more now, because he's now only 3.6 seconds behind Sam in second. So yeah, it looks like it could be quite comfortable for Charlie, as it's dropped down to 2.4 seconds. So maybe Charlie had an issue there, but yeah, I think Speed Queen's medium tyres have just given up on her now.
Simon looks like he's lining up a move on Beck for 7th position down into turn 1. Beck covers the inside line. Can Simon get the move done before T1? It would be brave for Beck to try and live with him. It just about lets enough room for the Renault, but Simon back up into 7th, so it's a good recovery for the Renault driver after that issue on turn 1 of lap 1. But yeah, as you say, Sam and Speed Queen, both of them seem to be struggling with tyres. They were the ones that decided to go for the mediums after the soft compound start. So they are seemingly struggling with their tyres late in the race, and that's meant that Charlie, there you go, there's it's just under 3 seconds between him and Sam, and with just over 2.5 laps left to go in the race, that gap is coming down. So Charlie potentially could be on the rear end of Sam in the last, so he's taking almost a tenth or two out of him every few corners. So at the moment that time is really coming down, and 2.8 seconds he's got gap between himself and Speed Queen. So yeah, I would expect it at the moment that he builds that 3 second gap between himself and Speed Queen, but equally potentially even challenging for second.
Could potentially. I was just looking through the instance, and Sam is sitting on 2 warnings at the minute, so he's not got a penalty. So Charlie is relying on catching up with Sam and also getting a penalty, 1 more warning, and then if he could overtake him, second would be his. But like you say, now Speed Queen has dropped down to 3.3 seconds behind Charlie, so at the moment third place will be his. Will Speed Queen just see out this race now with 2 laps left? It looks like she's not going to bother with the potential fastest lap, and just try and see if she can claw back this 3 second gap on Charlie. But at the moment, Charlie, who's making so much time up on Sam at the minute, it's down to 1.9 seconds now. Charlie really putting the pressure on Sam.
Yep, 1.5 laps left to go. White Fountain leads by a comfortable 8.2 seconds. The Belgian leading the Spaniard, leading the Brit, and you've got just around a lap left to go, as White Fountain will be coming around very shortly, I'm sure, to start what will be his final lap, as he's on the penultimate one so far. Just on board here with MJ Coupe running in 6th position. Another consistent race for Cooper. Did have an issue with running wide earlier on, but 6th place, I'm sure he'll be happy with that. That'll be good points for his Tier 2 championship, which is currently being led by Nick L.J. Thompson. And with Nick retiring earlier on in the race, Humberstone unfortunately suffering a broken wrist, so that will most likely rule him out for the rest of the season. Means MJ Coupe can move up into a position where he can start challenging for that Tier 2 championship. But White Fountain is on his final lap of the race. He's just gone on to, he's just exiting turn 2. And yeah, sorry, as I'm sure you're just about to interrupt me. Feel free to talk me through FPL Charlie and Sam.
Yes, Sam, his tyres are completely gone. He was coming out of the final corner and he almost went into the wall. Just had to get off the power, and Charlie, like a shark in water-smelling blood, he was all over the back of that Haas, and unfortunately this has happened too late for him. That Haas cannot stay on the track at the minute. He's barely keeping on the track. It's on the last lap, and for Sam, all he needs to do now is just keep that car on the track, not pick up a penalty, and he should keep hold of second place. But this is just too late for Charlie, isn't it? If Charlie had 2 or 3 more laps left, he could have potentially got past Sam and stole second place here. But Sam, at the moment, he's hanging on by his fingernails, trying to keep hold of second place. Charlie all over the back of that Haas. He goes round the outside. Good move there.
Yeah, but what this has done is it's brought that gap down between himself and Speed Queen. So it's now only 1.8 seconds between Sam and Speed Queen, Charlie's gone into the wall. He lost it on the exit of turn 13. He's gone into the wall. Looks like he's just about held onto it. No damage. How he's managed to come out that unscathed. What it is it means that we are going to see Speed Queen on the podium. And Charlie, after making up that gap, got caught behind Sam as White Fountain crosses the line, takes the win, but it's going to be Charlie who's going to drop off of the podium. Sam goes second. Speed Queen takes her first podium of the season. And absolute disaster there for Charlie, who just lost it. Doran has just like to apologise to White Fountain. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get you crossing the line. Just wanted to keep on board of the action that was happening for second position. Doran is 40 seconds behind this battle for 4th position. He's running around in 5th, and the McLaren will come across the line, and it will be some more received points for the Woking based team as Doran comes across the line in 5th position. MJ Coupe will be happy in 6th this evening, and he comes across the line with Simon just under 2 seconds behind. Does he jump him on penalties? He does. So Simon up into 6th. So great recovery for the Swede. And Beck 9000 and CPI Alex will be battling over 7th and 8th. Do they swap positions? No, they don't. So it's Beck in 8th position, Alex in 9th, and Adri will be picking up the final point. And it's a good thing because he had several penalties sitting underneath him as well. But there are your top 10, your only 10 that finished the race due to the 4 retirements. And what an end to the race between the top, the 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, that was a superb battle, especially between Speed Queen and Charlie. It looked like, didn't it, at first, for one moment, that Speed Queen was just going to miss out on the opportunity of a podium. But that battle between Charlie and Sam right at the end just brought her right back into it. And like I say, Charlie nearly hit the wall, or did hit the wall. I wasn't actually seeing that part. It just brought it right back to Speed Queen, and unfortunately Charlie drops down out of those podium positions. But I'd like to give White Fountain my driver of the day. He went out in front, and you didn't really see much of him. He got the job done superbly, no mistakes, superb pole position. He's been absolutely fantastic tonight.
Absolutely, and there he is. He takes the win. The Belgian on top in the Renault in 42 minutes and 5 seconds from pole to the win. And a real flag-to-flag victory for him. Sam in 2nd position with Speed Queen on the final step of the podium in 3rd, with FPL Charlie unfortunately dropping off of the podium on penalties in 4th, Doran in 5th, with Simon in 6th, MJ Coupe 7th, Beck in 8th, CPI Alex in 9th, Agilocdoc, your final run in the points, and the final on the runners in. Then we had Nick L.J. Thompson, JGO, Scott, and Meg Lugby, who all failed to finish. And Foxy Red has joined in and said, what a race, and you have to agree.
I totally agree. Yes, it was absolutely fantastic, and we got the old Speed Queen, didn't we, this season? It's easily her best race this season. She harried and pressed and did everything she could to Charlie to upset him and try and get past. Charlie defended well for lap after lap, didn't he? He knew exactly how to pull away and just build that gap so the DRS wouldn't work on him. But unfortunately for Charlie, it just didn't work out for him at the end. But yeah, a superb race, which bit a few people, didn't it? And we saw quite a few retirements, but this allowed other people to get good points tonight, which they probably wouldn't have normally. So yeah, a superb race.
Yeah, really enjoyed that one. Great to be back and bringing it to you. And don't worry, that's not the only racing you'll get here in Invictus this week. Of course, Realistic Performance is back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. with Malc and Tim in the commentary box. And then on Wednesday, you've got F1, F2 and F3, all racing around Australia, of course, are part of their round 7 of their championships. You've got Tim commentating on F1. F2 will be commentated on by Energy Dan, and F3 of course will be done by Malc. And then on Thursdays you've got our GT Sport DTM League, and on Sundays you've got the GT Sport LMP1 WEC League. So plenty of racing for these guys and for yourselves to enjoy. So make sure, if you are enjoying it, click on that subscribe button and you'll be notified when we go live. But of course, now we are streaming on YouTube. Videos will go straight onto the channel, so no waiting to watch the race back. So if you've enjoyed it, make sure you've watched the race back, and it was an absolutely fantastic one, and it looks like the top 2 have joined us in the groups this evening. So just make sure you've got your voices to be allowed to be shared, lads. And I will let Sab give the questions out this evening.
Good evening, guys. It was a superb race from everyone tonight. I just want to start off with White Fountain. Congratulations, you did a superb pole position tonight. Nobody really got close to it, and then you led from the front and no mistakes. How was the race for you?
The beginning of the race was quite tricky on the softs. They worked quite a lot, and it was very slippery the first few laps, and I lost a lot of time to Charlie and Samu. But I think I did the right call going to the hards and not the mediums, and they felt pretty good the whole race long. So very happy with the win. But some Samu and Charlie were quick too.
Yeah, they were, and unfortunately, they couldn't, for their sake, they couldn't take advantage and try and get the move done on you. Going on to you, Sam, you looked really fast tonight, and there was an incident in the pit lane which unfortunately picked up yourself some wing damage. You were closing in on White Fountain, and unfortunately, that wing damage probably cost you an opportunity to fight for the win tonight. How was it for you? What was the issue in the pit lane?
Yeah, good evening, guys. So, yeah, was very close to White Fountain, about 1 second behind him. It was the closest that I've ever been in the race, so I was pushing hard. And then I saw him pitting, and I decided to pit too. And I just tried to gain time entering the pits, braking late. But then he broke normally, and I just locked up, and I went too deep. I wasn't expecting that, so yeah, that ruined my chances to win. Um, I lost about 7 seconds to him after the pit, and I couldn't do much. I was pushing, but it was really tight.
Yeah, and right at the end as well was really tight for yourself as well. Those medium tyres looked absolutely dead for yourself with Charlie and Speed Queen fast approaching behind. Was it a case of just trying to keep it on the track and hoping the guys behind make a mistake?
Yeah, I put it the medium just to make something different than White Fountain or the rest of the the guys, and I was pushing a lot till lap 20, and then I realized that if I keep pushing like that, my front left tire will not make it to the end of the race. So I decided to lift off, back off, and it was critical the last 3 laps. I had 75% of wear in the front left, So I was just trying to keep behind Charlie. I knew he had a 3 second penalty, so I was just trying to have him behind. But then he passed me around the outside, so it was a great move by him. And I knew if I just ended up 3 seconds from him, I would get P2. But yeah, it was critical. I didn't expect to have such a drop off of the tire, and yeah, that was it.
Yeah, well, it was a good race for yourself in the end to pick up second place. Congratulations! I just want to go back to White Fountain. It's a good start for yourself into the second half of this season. Do you believe now you can push on and challenge for the championship for this second half of the season?
There are still some fun tracks on the calendar, but I do think some guys like Scope, Samu, and Charlie are faster than me on race pace. So I'm just gonna try my best, and we'll see what happens. I'm happy with the victory today, and on to next week, and we'll see what happens then.
Well, congratulations from me. You were absolutely superb today. Gareth, I don't know if you have anything for the guys just before we wrap up.
No, you've covered that brilliant. Congratulations, guys. That was a fantastic race. Really enjoyed that one. So yeah, hope you all enjoy watching that one back. So yeah, that I believe means that Sam takes the lead in the G Drivers' Championship with Scopefield and missing this evening, of course, Scott retiring. So great news for Sam starting the season, and White Fountain, of course, taking another race victory. So he's actually the man that's taken the most of the season. So yeah, another one to watch out for as we go into the second half of this season. So yeah, Sab, how was that to start off the second half?
It's exactly where we left off, isn't it? With this season's been absolutely superb. We've had all sorts of different instances, great battles on track, and it's a good start to the second half of this season. And I cannot wait for next week and see what these guys get up to then, because if this carries on, we're going to have a very, very good battle for the championship running into the end of the season.
Absolutely, and of course next week we go to Shanghai and the Chinese Grand Prix. So fantastic circuit there. Really enjoy that one. Of course, the longest or mile long straight for these guys to get a good DRS drag. So expect plenty of overtaking around that one. And we can expect to see another fantastic race in store here on Monday night's No Assist Championship, which will be now brought to you live on YouTube. And of course, as I said before, click that subscribe button if you want to be notified when we go live, and ding the bell if you want that notification. And yeah, but thanks guys for joining us. As I said, you can watch the Realistic Performance League tomorrow night with Tim and Malc in the commentary box. And then on Wednesday, you've got F1, F2 and F3 GT Sport on Thursdays and Sundays. And if you want to find out more, go to the website invictusracingleague.com or go to the socials, Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, Invictus Racing League on Facebook. And check us out if you want to get yourself on the grid for the second half of the season or for the start of next season. Let us know and go to the Apply to Race section. If you'd like to listen to the podcast, it is streamed live on Twitch on Thursday night. Sab and I talking all things F1, uploaded to all of your streaming podcast and streaming sites, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, all the like. That will be uploaded there. And you can follow Sab and I on Twitter at Alan Sabatino on Twitter for Sab, and at GT2_driving for myself. But thank you very much everyone for joining us. We will be back next week for the Chinese Grand Prix round 8 of the No Assists Championship here in Invictus Racing League, and we will see you next week.